Welcome to Cowchtalk. Coffee's on, chaos managed. Let's talk. I'm Lyn.
Hey, I'm Lisa, and we're the sisters that you wish you could sip coffee with. So make sure that you follow us because we've got thoughts on what's going on in the world today. So let's take a look at what's going on today. We're diving down into all this headline stuff about these crazy tariffs that y'all are probably just scrolling on by. But don't worry, we promise we're not going to give you the econ lesson from some dry old textbook.
No snooze fest?
No.
Yeah. No dry textbooks here. Just real talk about how the new tariffs, which is taxes on stuff that we import,
Mm-hmm.
will end up showing up in your everyday life. We're talking grocery cart, furniture shopping,
Mm-hmm.
even your prescription medications.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
It is.
But recently, the United States has rolled out a new wave of tariffs. I'm talking 100% tariffs on certain imported medications with the caveat that
Yeah.
if the drug maker already has a plant in the United States that's under construction,
Yep.
doesn't even have to be
Nope, they can just
working.
start it.
Those are the ones they won't have the ability to hike your prices, but anything that's still coming in from outside the country is a different story.
Yes.
Now, on top of that, we've got things going on that are affecting the construction industry. There's now a
hmm
50% tariff on the kitchen cabinetry
Yep.
and your bathroom
Your
vanities,
vanities,
those
yeah.
kind of things. Upholstered furniture, 30%. Oh, and guess what? 25% on heavy trucks.
Yeah, well,
Now,
and
I don't know, what do they mean by heavy trucks?
I'm not sure. Maybe the Caterpillar vehicles.
I guess
I don't know.
if your truck has that super heavy
Super
duty
duty?
or whatever
Well,
it is that's
no,
across the
because
nose.
I think a lot of those are made in America, though, because didn't
Yeah.
they move manufacture? I don't know.
Well, and I think
But
that's
the
it.
kicker is the average U.S. tariff rate is now nearly 19%.
That's just
And
crazy.
that's the highest that it's been since the 1930s. And experts say 70% of those costs are going to pass right on down to us, the consumer.
Well, yeah, but that's always how it goes. You're always going to have that trickle down.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of people they're upset saying why is the United States doing this? They're crippling financially their own
Well,
people.
the thought process, I believe, is to become self-sufficient again and start manufacturing everything back in our own country because let's face it, everything's been
Right.
outsourced.
Yeah, and that happened a decade or so ago where they
hmm
started moving everything offshore because it was cheaper to
It was
do
cheaper.
business by utilizing outside
hmm
employment and outside manufacturing companies and just bringing it back into the States.
Yep,
And that really wiped out our production and manufacturing
it
industries.
did. So now we have
But
nothing. We need to rebuild that.
yeah, we do. But
Stop
the other
relying on the rest of the world.
well, the other thing is too, if you look at the history of the way the tariffs were, they haven't been fair. The United States has predominantly always had to pay high tariffs for exporting our goods
We're paying for their
into
way of life.
to foreign countries, which is the reason why so many U.S. based companies
hmm
moved things out of the United
Yep,
States.
because it was cheaper.
It was cheaper because you produce in the foreign country, you eliminate that tariff.
Yep.
In the same respect, because we continued to pay these high tariffs and did not charge a like level tariff
Yeah, there was
for
the like fee.
importing foreign
hmm
companies' goods and services to the United States, essentially the American taxpayers' dollars are footing the bill
For
for
everybody
the revenue
else.
being taken into other foreign countries.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sick and tired of the United States coughing up money and taking the money that we bust our butts for to put food on our tables, roofs over our heads, barely. And they're turning around taking our tax money and they're shipping it over to these foreign countries to build schools, build hospitals, send all kinds of vaccinations and junk to them.
Yeah, who sends money to? Well, at one point, the U.S. government was run off of nothing but tariffs
Right.
until they instituted the income tax, and
Well,
that's a whole
that's
ball
a
of wax
whole
on
nother
how that, yeah,
discussion.
on how that started. But think about some of the other repercussions of this tax, other than the fact that we're going to end up paying a little bit more
A little?
at the cash register.
Yeah, quite a bit.
But I mean, think about it because the insurance. I mean,
Homeowners insurance you're talking about.
yes, homeowners insurance because we're talking about the cost of building
Yes,
a
because
house, the cabinets,
and
furnishing
well,
it,
lumber too, I
whatever.
believe, is something else that's going to take a little bit of a hit.
Yeah, because insurance is based on
Right,
replacement
the
cost.
cost of rebuilding a house fire,
So if all this stuff goes up,
tornado,
it
you name
only
it.
stands to reason that the cost of our insurance, which is already ungodly high,
And then you look at
is
what their
gonna go
profit
higher.
margins are, though.
Yeah, I went and I looked that up. In 2023, overall record net income for insurance was $88 billion.
How do you
So if
make
you've got
$88
that much money
billion
sitting out there,
and have to charge the kind of phenomenal
well, and this is what I
rates that they
wonder.
charge?
And this is what I have to wonder. It's like
It's crazy.
something's not right.
No, it's something definitely isn't right.
Yep, it's just not right there.
So, I mean, the way they're doing things is crazy. But the way that they decided to go about doing it, I have to question, was it wise to go in right off the deep end diving board and say, well, we're going to raise up our tariffs to kind of even out the playing field? Now, mind you, a lot of the foreign countries did not say, okay, well, maybe we can negotiate it and we'll bring our rates down if you keep your rates down. No, a lot of them
Which makes you wonder,
balked.
why did we not try and
Get things to come over here.
even? I mean,
But, and I realize that, you would think that in some ways by doing the tariff first to get the manufacturing over, it was cart before the
would
horse.
promote getting the manufacturing over here. I get that. But wouldn't it have been better to negotiate to get something started here
But I think
so that
did
it was
that
in the
not
process?
also get wrapped up in the whole rat wheel of the fact that because of the way the tariffs being so out of sync with our country versus foreign countries,
Well,
that you still had the problem that it was still cheaper to do the manufacturing offshore.
which just leads one to wonder if we're talking about these percentages, that these are the percentages we're going to charge for them to import stuff.
Right.
What have we been paying all this time? Because the whole object behind, well, the whole object behind the tariff was to make it even. If you pay 35%, we pay 35%.
Well,
So,
and it depends on what type of a tariff they're charging too, because I mean, basically, it's just to keep a protection over your own productions of domestic industries, and encourage companies to
well, yeah, to
do
be in
their
your own
manufacturing
country.
in your own country.
Exactly.
But then there also you have to look at how are they effectively putting these taxes out there, because with tariffs you have an ad valorem tax, which basically is charged according to the worth of the item. So there's a percentage that is charged against the worth, and then you have a specific type of tariff that it basically says, all right, that product, this is how much you're going to pay. It doesn't
Yes.
matter what its worth is.
And I believe that's what they're talking about with this particular new tariff thing is it's based on X product because they're talking
Yeah,
based
as opposed
on
to what its value is,
exactly.
which that can get dicey in and of
Well,
itself.
yeah, six of one, half a dozen of another. I think it's
But in the same respect, you can also get very odd on your how much something is worth, because what it's worth
well,
to
who
one person,
determines?
exactly what one person thinks it's worth is somebody else would say, no, it's not, nowhere's near.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And it's like, well,
But in the other respect too, wasn't Trump also, when he was campaigning, talking about the idea of eliminating federal income tax?
federal
in
income
its
tax, they
entirety?
were talking about going back to running this country on nothing but
Right.
tariffs like we used to.
Well, because Alexander Hamilton back in the day,
Mm.
when we first became our own little country and were flat broke and then some, and we were
We
in
got
debt,
nothing.
well, we owed. And we had how is the federal government going to make money? Very little choices on how to do that. So they instituted the idea of the tariffs, and it
Of a
was
tariff.
to make a revenue as well as to support
Support the
production.
government. Yep.
Because a lot of company or countries were able to go out and do their own negotiations with one
Mhm.
another to block out the United States from being able to do things. And guess what?
They hated it.
The country ran on the tariffs that it
It
earned.
did. It ran on the tariffs, which is the thought process to go back to running on the
On
tariffs.
tariffs.
Which basically would mean if we're looking at the trickle down that we end up paying on the tariff because guaranteed we're going to be paying a good chunk of this
Right.
instead of paying an income
Income
tax,
tax.
you're paying whatever the price of whatever it is that you choose to buy
Right.
versus any of the money that you earn.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it kind of changes things
Kind of like the
around.
idea of like with the idea of a flat tax, that it's based on what you're purchasing as opposed to you earned X amount of dollars.
Well, no, the flat tax wasn't based on that. The
No.
flat tax was based on your income. A certain percentage of your income
Ah,
is what they wanted to do with the flat tax.
there was something I had read that they were talking about with doing it with
Maybe
your
like a VAT.
sales tax too.
Maybe like a VAT tax is what
Yeah,
they're talking,
could
because
be.
other countries have the VAT tax.
Yeah, so many different ways to
Yeah,
go about
taxes
it.
and
Who's right?
taxes, more taxes.
Taxes.
They're
They're going to
just
get you one way or another.
taxing us to
They are. They are.
And it's like,
Definitely.
well,
So, well, yeah. So if you're wondering why that recliner's starting to cost more and more money, it's not just being blamed on inflation. It's that tariff trickle down.
yeah. But now let me tell you though, if that tariff starts messing with my coffee stash, we are going to have a problem.
Preach it, girl. You could raise prices on them cabinets, but you start coming after my coffee. I don't know. We might be throwing hands.
Yeah, all right. So speaking of coffee,
Coffee. We need
let's
coffee.
let's take a quick little coffee break here. If talk like this has you feeling like your wallet is under attack, we've got your back.
We sure do. We've actually got a book series out there, The Mature Women with Champagne Taste on a Beer Budget. And it's all about how to do and get more with for less. So we show you how you can actually live well, shop smart, and keep your lifestyle without maxing out your credit cards, because boy, that hurts in the long run. It hurts in the long run. So, even when the economy throws curveballs like these tariffs,
Yep.
you can still do it
You
without
can still
having to
do
break
it.
the
It's
bank.
doable. And you can grab your copy going out to Cowchtalk.com. That's COWCHTALK.com. And while you're there, check out our social experiment. That's our chaos fund with a purpose. And if you've refilled that coffee, we've got more tariff talk to untangle.
We sure do. So, how does this all play out for all y'all sitting out there on your own little couch? We've got 3 takeaways for you.
Yep, we've got three thoughts. Number one, prices are going up in
Mm.
specific areas: furnitures, trucks, even certain medications. And if you're planning on a big purchase, like an appliance or furniture, might be worth moving that timeline up before the hikes really hit. And
Yeah.
they're going to be hitting very soon.
Well, yeah, definitely. I don't
Yep.
even.
October 1st is what I had heard,
Oh, wow.
unless they push it back some.
You
Yeah.
really have to wonder how that's going to affect some of the normal sale period frames that you normally find for this type of merchandise. Because if you look into it, there are certain months of the year where they tell you this is the best month to
Mhm.
shop for XYZ. So you really have to wonder if you're still going to be getting the same kind of savings or not.
I don't know, but I think we need to do an episode, and we need to talk about the Black Friday purchasing, and we need to talk about how you can go about still having a holiday.
Right. Oh,
With
definitely. There's
well-
ways to do things.
Well, we'll get
It's
into
so
that. Let's move on to number 2.
All right. So the number 2 takeaway here is going to be support local when you can.
Yes.
There are tons of mom and pops out there that, especially with now with the tariffs coming in and prices going up, when you're dealing with somebody that's got stuff local and they use everything local to create their product, they're not being affected by those tariffs.
Nope.
So their products aren't going to go up in price. So it starts evening out that playing field.
Yep.
So, instead of going with the more expensive imports from out of the country, you can find something that's made here in America by somebody in America. So shopping small isn't just feel good about helping your community. It's actually becoming more of an affordable choice.
It most definitely is, because you can find local, like your cabinet makers and stuff. If
Right.
you want your kitchen done,
Yeah.
you can find local, and it's probably a better product because you're going to get a solid
It's
wood
handcrafted.
cabinet
Right.
versus the particle board and melamine or
Well,
whatever it is that they
oh,
use to
yeah.
make the other products. I mean,
Composites.
it's going to be something
Think
better.
about with some of the restaurants that we've gone to, because we live in a small town.
Mhm.
So we don't have big chain restaurants.
No,
We've
we
got
don't.
fast food, but we don't have
Well,
a lot
not
of
a fast
big
food.
change restaurants if
No.
we want to go for a nice, like a steak dinner or something.
Mhm.
But we do have independently owned and operated restaurants that are,
Yes.
some of them are quite good. And they use locally
Locally
produced.
sourced
So,
items where
exactly.
they can.
And when you go there for dinner, it doesn't cost us any more to go and eat at one of our local restaurants than it would
Mhm.
for us to go to like a Texas Roadhouse or Outback.
Longhorn, whatever,
Any of
yeah.
that.
Yeah, I mean, because I actually did that. I was looking up one of the local restaurants, and you see their steak, and it's like $35, and it's like, "Whoa!" And then I went out on the Longhorn, and to get
Yeah.
to a Longhorn, it would take us 45 minutes-ish,
Oh,
45, 50
at
minutes at
least.
least to get there, and you're still gonna pay that same $35,
Plus the
and you're
gas.
plus gas, plus time. Um, you're better
Yeah,
off going local. So
right.
find those little mom and pop shops.
Most definitely.
Just because there's a name out there on something and you know what the name is doesn't mean it's the best thing. Just saying.
Yeah.
And then number three, and this has to do with your budget. You build a budget buffer. So even if you can get that extra $20 in your grocery or your household budget for the month, just to soften the blow a little bit of those sudden price jumps, that's something. I mean, think of giving yourself a little bit of breathing room.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the $20 to put aside, which I totally get that in today's climate and economy, job markets, whatever.
Right.
But if you don't have that money to put aside, there's other options. How
Definitely.
about reupholstering something that you already have in your house if you need to do something with a chair?
Right.
Repairing what it is that you have, buying something through a thrift.
Well, when we were getting furniture, because when we moved and built our house here, we had basically sold almost everything because we
We did the
figured,
same thing.
well, we were going to be downsizing the size of the house.
Mhm.
Didn't get quite as small as my husband had hoped for.
Darn.
But kids still live at home and they need elbow room because they're bigger now.
Because they have bigger elbows.
But what we ended up doing is I started shopping around. I was looking on Facebook Marketplace and I shopped Craigslist. I actually found a lot of stuff on the Marketplace. And it was
Marketplace is pretty
nice.
good.
It was nice stuff. I do have to admit that when you're dealing with individuals, it kind of can get a little bit dicey because it's trying to get responses. Because not everybody is going to
Mm.
be quick to respond. And I'm the type of person that if I know I have something that I'm putting out there for sale
Mhm.
and somebody's going to be interested in it, I need to keep an eye on
Yep.
that a couple times a day. I would, because when I sold stuff, I would check and see if I had any
Yeah, did
messages.
anybody send
Usually,
anything,
when I got
questions?
up and I'm having coffee, when I was stopping during my day to have something in the middle of the day for a snack, and
More
then when I
coffee
was in the middle of doing dinner, and then again, I
and
would
more
check it later at
coffee.
night. So I'm getting a little bit beyond what the normal person would do, but I would check it at least 4 times a day so that if somebody did have a question or was interested in it, I could respond to them quickly.
Well, that's a better way to sell too, because then if you have more stuff to sell, you become noted as somebody
Yeah,
that's responsive, and
right.
you'll get better feedback that if you do have something to sell out there,
Yeah,
somebody looks into you, they're going to say, "Oh, she at least answers me."
right, right.
I mean,
The only tip
you
that
know,
I would give on something like that is when you're purchasing, and if you're not going to somebody that has like a storefront that they do resell, or
oh,
if they're
yeah,
not
yeah, yeah, yeah.
comfortable with somebody
Mhm.
coming over, or if you're selling something and you're not comfortable with somebody coming to
Coming to your
you,
house,
definitely find
open meetup
a
spot.
someplace where there's other people around.
I believe our local police department in town here
A lot of them, I think
has
they let you.
parking spots in front specifically for
Right,
meetup exchange.
right. So that way you can keep yourself safe.
Yeah, be safe while you're
But
doing it.
definitely look into other options
Hmm.
because, and even same thing with clothing. I mean, a lot of people are iffy on clothing, but there's places you can go that are really nice clothing thrift stores. I'm not
There
talking
are.
Goodwill and all that stuff.
No, there's decent places
Plato's
out there.
Closet
Plato's
is
Closet's good.
great if you're a younger person
Yeah,
because it's more stuff that is donated by,
younger
I
people.
would say, college
Yeah, yeah.
age-ish. That you'll find stuff in there. But those places are just jam packed with things, name
Hmm.
brand things, and a lot of stuff that you'll see somebody bought because they had something to go to that they
One thing
needed
to go
fancy.
to, and then they
Yeah,
got rid of it.
they got
Well,
rid
I
of
mean,
it.
even Goodwill, you can find decent stuff.
Sometimes
Goodwill,
I think it
Salvation
depends on the
Army.
area.
It depends on where it's
Right,
located and what kind of donors they
right.
get. So hit up different ones if you're in an area that has a few of them or
Yeah.
not too much of a
Well,
ride.
another thing too, if you've got a gal pal that, or if you have littles that are, about the same age or whatnot,
Mhm.
you can always exchange clothes.
Consignment shops too.
Yeah,
Go find a consignment shop.
you just got to be the same size.
Well, eat more, eat less.
Get those steps in.
Get taller.
Yeah, us
That's not gonna
exchanging wouldn't
happen.
work.
No, that wouldn't work at all.
All right,
You'd be
so
putting ruffles on the bottom of pants.
for me, yeah, definitely. There is a little bit of a height
I'm slightly
difference.
shorter.
Yeah, you took after one side, I took after the other. So, anyways, all right, so let's be real. Tariffs, they're just part of the cycle.
They are.
We're going to have to live with them regardless whether you knew about them or just found out about them. They've always been there. Prices are going to spike up. Markets, they'll adjust themselves, and things
They
eventually
do.
they balance out. It's cyclical.
It's waiting it out.
It really is.
Mhm.
The key thing is you just have to learn to adapt in the meantime until things do settle out. So you want to do some smart spending instead of panic spending.
Well, exactly. When the economy gets unpredictable, that's when your budget strategy really matters the most.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean it really is.
That's where it comes in.
Mhm.
Hey, save $1, bucks a buck.
Bucks a buck.
So anyway, all right, guys, that's a wrap on episode number 1. Woohoo! So terrorists, they might sound a little like something that belongs only in Washington, D.C., but they're going to show up in your everyday life, whether you like it or not, from your recliner to something sitting in your medicine cabinet.
Yeah, don't forget to visit our website, couchtalk.com, COWCHTALK.com, and share with a friend who needs to know and be in the know. So, see, coffee's on.
Chaos managed.
That's
Let's
Couch Talk.